Please take the roll.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Here.
Here. Here.
Commissioner Schulte.
Here.
Commissioner Look.
Here.
Support of you being here.
Commissioner Gamache.
Here.
Commissioner Jepson.
Here.
Commissioner Meisner.
Here.
Okay, all present and accounted for. We will go to item number 4, which is the tax claims and abatements. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Brassad,
Second.
second by Commissioner Jepson. A roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. We'll go on to item number 5, which is consider accepting the regular claims paid over $500 and purchase card claims paid for the period ending August 25th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte,
Second.
second by Commissioner Meisner. A roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
And that also passes unanimously. We'll move on to item number 6, which is the approval of minutes for the August 22nd, 2023 County Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte,
Second.
second by Commissioner Meisner. Is there any additions, subtractions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those meeting minutes are adopted. We'll move on to item number 7. There are no chair's remarks, and we'll move right into item number 8 then, which is the committee reports, and we'll start off with the Transportation Committee and Commissioner Brasted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Transportation Committee met on August 23rd, and we have a long list of items here for you, but many are for projects we've discussed thoroughly in the past. The first one is that the committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing the preparation of highway right-of-way plat for the project intersection improvements at CASA 17, which is Lexington Avenue, and 122nd Avenue in the city of Blaine. Joe.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Joe McPherson. I'm the Chief Officer for Transportation and the County Engineer. So this area of Blaine has seen a lot of growth over the last several years. 2 or 3 years ago, we installed a brand new signal down at Woodland Parkway, which is just south of this area. This happens to be right next to the Quick Trip, which is in the northeast quadrant there. And then also the city right now is entertaining a potential development and extension of Lakes Parkway from the Lakes development east, and it will connect up to Lexington Avenue. So this signal here is strategic. We know that this will have a 4th leg at the intersection at some point on the west side of the road. And with the continued development in the area, it's a warranted signal. So the action item here before you is for the preparation of the right-of-way plat, and then the next item is actually very similar. It's just the acquisition of right-of-way.
Is there an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Jepson. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That resolution's adopted. Item 2.
Okay, the committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing the acquisition of the right-of-way for the very same project we just discussed.
Okay, is there an offer of that resolution?
Moved.
I got a offer of the resolution by Commissioner Reinert, was that right? Okay. I think it was also Commissioner Jepson. So we'll just take both of them on that one. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Item 3.
The committee recommends approval of resolution approving and adopting the Anoka County Highway Department Title VI Plan. Joe, tell us about that.
Thank you, Commissioner, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So being a recipient of federal funds, we talk about those all the time. One of the requirements is to ensure that we're in compliance with the Civil Rights Act as well as the Title VI requirements that further extended the Civil Rights Act requirements. So with that, recently the FHWA has reached out to all local agencies that receive funds and informed them that they need to update their plans. And so I know that the county just recently, in the last year or two, went through their pretty general plan. It kind of over encompasses the entire county. But being the highway department, we have a little more specific requirements involved with our projects, our lettings, and so forth. So this plan really digs into the weeds for the application for highway projects. And the one thing to note with the Title VI plan, with the Civil Rights Act and the Title VI requirements, since we're a recipient of federal funds, it actually applies to all of our programs. So whether it's a state aid project, a county levy supported project, or a federal aid project, all these requirements apply to those projects. So without going through the whole plan, essentially the plan does call out new procedures that we're gonna have to follow with our project delivery process. So we're gonna need to be more aware and conscious of the communities that we're impacting with our projects. A lot of that we do already. We'll need to do some upfront research with the different ethnic groups and different cultures that exist within Anoka County and make sure we're sensitive to that as we deliver our projects. So those are probably the highlights. The rest of it is a lot of process and things that we already incorporate into our project delivery program. But I'd open it up to any questions anybody has.
Questions? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, and with sort of the evolution of what you were just talking about, particularly with BIPOC or underserved communities, are you going to be working at all with Human Services? And I ask that because, so there's a program that's called the Trusted Community Partners, and this is what their focus is to really be in the communities already, have those relationships already in place. This is primarily for public health, but I would imagine that that same group or function could work out for you as well. So if that is something that we could talk about offline as well, but I just wanted to mention that since this is kind of the work or refocus that you'll have to be doing.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner, yeah, that'd be a great resource for us to tap into.
Yeah, and
I
it's
think
already available, so, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Commissioner Schulte.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'm thrilled that we're doing this or looking at it, and I'm really proud of the fact that we've always done it. We have always complied with Title VI. We've made sure this has been a priority as we developed roadways throughout Anoka County. We don't have a quote-unquote Rondo neighborhood or a Holman neighborhood. We haven't had that issue. And I'm proud of that legacy that's there and look forward to continue that work as we work through Title VI. With that, I would offer the resolution, Mr. Chair.
Okay, resolution's been offered by Commissioner Schulte. Further discussion? So just for clarification, Joe, the concepts we're kind of familiar with is if you receive federal dollars, you're subject to federal requirements. What you're saying, though, is because we're a recipient on any other program, doesn't even matter what the amount is, we still have to follow on every single project that we have.
Yeah,
And I want to clarify, it's not that we don't want to follow. What I'm getting at is kind of the interesting maybe overreach, that is kind of mission creep, maybe you might call it, from the federal government that we don't necessarily need to get into the 10th Amendment and that part of it. But the reality is that we have other issues such as Davis-Bacon Act and that applies specifically to federal dollars but doesn't apply to local dollars necessarily. But in this particular situation, it does. I found that interesting in reading through the write-up here.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, you're correct. That is unique to this program. I think there might be a few other requirements that are federal that I'm unaware of that span greater than just the programs that are supported by federal dollars. But this one in particular, being tied to civil rights, it does apply to all of the programs we have. So if we're hiring a contractor for tree clearing, we want to make sure that there's an open and fair process, that they're provided an opportunity to bid on that project as well. So like you said earlier, a lot of this we're doing already. It's inherent in our process, but it just calls attention to it, and it's one of those requirements that we must follow.
As it relates to other things such as, Indian burial grounds, or it relates to what is the milkweed or whatever some of the endangered species, has it gone to that point as well on local dollars?
Mr. Chair, no, other than the regular NEPA process we follow. So if it's a federal project, we go through the NEPA process, and that's essentially looking at the environmental impacts, both with our natural environment and then also the community environment that we have around here. So all of that's incorporated in that. We don't have to do a lot of those things with our state projects, other than if we have a fully supported state project and we have an endangered species on that project. Like, one of the famous ones we always talk about is the Sea Beach needlegrass. So, unique name. I still don't even know what it looks like. Our team does, but I don't. Those types of things we have to look out for because it's an endangered species, and that doesn't matter what funding source you're using. That's just something we have to be cautious of.
Interesting, okay. Any further discussion? Commissioner Meisner?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I appreciate actually this dialogue because, I mean, I think all of these jurisdictions is confusing, but I appreciate you, Joe, talking about that the lens, because you talked about environmental, Mr. Chair, and some other things, but if the lens is civil rights, that does make sense to me because whatever the application is, it's civil rights. So if that's the lens, that does make sense. And then hopefully, like you say, it's not going to be that big of a heavy lift because for the most part, you're already doing it. So I think that's a good thing. Thank you.
Further discussion? Okay, we have an offer of the resolution approving and adopting the Anoka County Highway Department Title VI Plan. Let's do a roll call vote on this one.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye. That passes unanimously. Item 4.
The committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing Anoka County to enter into a local bridge replacement program agreement with MnDOT for the replacement of the CSAH 18 Coon Creek Boulevard Bridge over Coon Creek in the city of Coon Rapids. Joe?
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chair, so if you guys remember a few months ago, I brought forward the request to approve the contract, and this is the one that came in about $1 million over our engineer's estimate. Not an easy pill to swallow. Fortunately, we've been working with our partners at State Aid, and our project team continue looking for other funding sources to help kind of soften that blow. So I'm happy to say that we are going to be the recipients of state bridge bonds for this project, and they will cover up to 50% of the bridge eligible items on the project. In this case, it's about $2.5 million. So that's a great thing for everyone here in the community. It softens the blow. It softens what our local share of the project is.
Is there enough for the resolution? Okay, resolution's been offered by Commissioner Schulte. Discussion on this one? Commissioner Gamache?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's just interesting to see that, I'm glad that we were able to get the 2.4, almost 2.5 million. And it's a relatively small bridge when you look at it, and the actuality of it is it's gonna cost $5 million to replace. And you wonder, you know, the cost of everything nowadays. But it's great that we're able to get some help here, and that kind of fits because that bridge does need to go. The issues are a relatively large crack somewhere in the base that needs to be repaired, and it's going to be a difficult probably situation just because of the soils in that area, and we've dealt with that on Main Street, not too far from that bridge on Main Street where we had those issues. But it is just kind of amazing when you think about, it's not a vast bridge going over a freeway or something like that. It's just going over a small creek, and it's still going to be $5.8 million. So, thanks, Joe.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner, to that point, this was the one where, actually talking to the contractor here that's gonna do the project, which is Landwehr Construction, they're saying it could be upwards of 2 to 3 weeks of just piling installation for this project because of the suspect soils. Some of them are over 90 feet deep with peat. So, yeah, like you said, it's a small footprint of a project, but it's just complicated in nature due to the soils. Great to grow a lawn on, but not to build a road on.
Yeah.
Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 5.
Committee recommends approval to enter into an agreement with Great River Energy for utility relocation on the construction of a roundabout at CSAH 14, which is 125th or Main Street, and Sunset Avenue in the cities of Blaine and Lino Lakes. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So this is going to be a proposed roundabout at this intersection on 125th or Main Street. It's right on the border of Blaine and Lino Lakes. And as we've gone through design and development of this project, the one thing that we ran into that we had to deal with was the fact that GRE owns a transmission line, an aerial transmission line along the north side of the corridor. And they actually exist within their own private easement. So when we come in and impact that easement and we require them to relocate, it's our cost. And that's what this agreement is. This is just our agreement to pay those costs, to adjust the poles as necessary so that we can build the project.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
By Commissioner Reinert. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion?
Comment.
Commissioner Gamache?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is a great spot for a roundabout. This kind of fits that real easily. It'll slow the traffic down a little bit. You don't get that pulling out when people are coming down that long straightaway of Main Street. So I think this is an excellent plan to where these roundabouts work perfect. So thanks.
Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Moving on to 6.
The committee recommends approval to enter into a professional services agreement with TKDA Design Services for the pedestrian improvements on CASA 2, which is 44th Avenue, from CASA 1, East River Road, to Main Street, and for the replacement of the reinforced concrete deck on the bridge over the BNSF Railway. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chair, so this is a project we actually received federal dollars for to do pedestrian accommodation improvements on the south side of this bridge, on the bridge deck. What exists there now is a very narrow, about 5 feet wide pedestrian path that goes across the bridge, but when you get to the end of the bridge, there's no accommodations. You somehow get there and you somehow get off. So that was the intent of the project. As we've looked into this, this is one of the longest bridges that we own in Anoka County. It's nearly a quarter-mile long. It's over the railroad hump yard, stockyard area there with BNSF. Actually, one of their corporate offices exists just along the east side of this roadway towards Main Street there. And so it's a complicated project, but as we've dug into it more, we realize that the bridge deck is reaching the end of its useful life and needs to be replaced. As it is with Anoka County, we like to do things unique. So this is one of the only complex bridge structures that exists on a local roadway system in Minnesota. Typically, you don't see these unique style structures on a local roadway system. There are a few in the state, but we're lucky enough to have one here, just like our land bridges. And so because of that, there's a unique design process we must follow with MnDOT as we design the deck replacement on this project. It involves 2 separate bridge engineers, licensed bridge engineers, to go at this from 2 separate sides, design the project, and at the end, they want to confirm that they're both going at it the same direction and come down a path that's unified. That's why you see the larger consultant cost on this one. So this project will include the replacement of the concrete deck and then the installation of those pedestrian accommodations.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Meisner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Meisner.
Yeah, just commentary. I mean, I am completely fascinated by this entire project as it's evolving. And so this is going to continue to be, I suspect, pretty complicated. But yeah, I appreciate doing it the right way. And given that it is engineered in a very different way originally, it's going to cost a lot of money as well. So just to kind of put that out there as well. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 7.
The committee recommends award of a contract in the amount of $994,964.25 to New Look Contracting. This is for the intersection improvements on Coon Rapids Boulevard at Xavis and the intersection improvements at Coon Rapids Boulevard at CASA 18, which is Crooked Lake Boulevard, all in Coon Rapids. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Members of the board. So you'll notice on the screen, I don't have the other intersection highlighted, but essentially just to the northwest here is where Crooked Lake Boulevard exists. And so we put the plans together as 2 separate projects. As we've noticed, we've seen some fluctuation in construction costs. So since the proximity of these 2 projects are very close to one another and the types of projects they are very similar, we decided to package the two projects together. And I'm glad we did, because the price to do both of these projects is under $1 million. Just a hair under, but nonetheless, it's much less expensive than some of the other signal projects we've seen recently. Like Mississippi Boulevard was over, I think it was approximately $1.3 million. So this is two projects for under the price of one. The contractor is known, they do good work in the area, so we're looking forward to seeing this projects get done.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte,
Second.
second by Commissioner Gamache. Discussion, Commissioner Schulte.
Joe, can you tell me, do these include flashing yellow arrow conversions on both of these intersections?
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, Commissioner, Exavis is going to have flashing yellow arrow. The one at Crooked Lake Boulevard, I can't remember if that one has it right now or not. That one is more of a modification for ADA accessibility and then some of the turning movements at that intersection, but that one might have it already.
Yeah, that, as you say that, Joe, I think you're right. I think Crooked Lake Boulevard does have it, but Exavis does not, so that would include it here,
Correct.
along with the ADA accessibility stuff.
Correct.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Yes, Commissioner Gamache.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe, how long have these intersections been in place and that we're replacing them? And is it just for the ADA issues mostly that things have been updated and that we need to replace them, or have they been around for quite some time?
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, Commissioner, this particular intersection is about 40 years.
Okay.
So we're starting to see a lot of that era of signals. We have approximately 225, 230 signal systems in Anoka County that we oversee. So some of those are starting to come due. You guys will notice that in our CIP plan, we're starting to program more of those in there. This isn't our oldest one by far. But yeah, it's approximately 40 years old, so it's ready to be replaced.
All right, thank you, Joe.
Further discussion? Well, I appreciate their name. They are unrelated to me, so just so everyone knows in full disclosure. So we have a motion and second. Without further discussion, roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte. Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 8.
Okay, the next four items are two different plats in Linwood Township. And because Linwood is a township, it goes through our surveyor's office and the county board. The first two is to recommend approval, well, let's stick with 8. Recommend approval of the preliminary plat of Delwood Country Estates and located in Section 7, Township 3, Range 22, Linwood Township. Lee and Verna Hennon are the owners and Civil Methods, Inc. is the developer.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chair, this item, as Commissioner Brostad had mentioned, due to the fact that they're a township, by state statute, they're required to go through our process to approve these. Fortunately, I know that staff at the township had reached out to Rhonda and a few others to talk about, is there any way that we could streamline our process for approval with the preliminary and the final plat? Because as you look at timelines between our meetings and then the township board meetings, you can stretch that out over 5 months if need be between these two sets of plats. But the actual review process goes much quicker. So trying to be good stewards of time, knowing that these developers want to get in this fall yet to start building these, we want to make sure that we could do everything we could. So appreciate Rhonda working on and helping on this and others and staff members. And so that's why these are packaged together. But Commissioner Brassad's 100% correct. We've looked at these. They look good. We approve them.
Okay. So before us, we have be looking for a motion for Section 7, Township 33, Range 22 for Linwood Township. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Reinert. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion?
Just a quick question.
Yep, Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe, I see there's a seemingly larger road on the, what, is it the east side? That this large cul-de-sac is gonna attach to. Is that a county road?
Correct. That is a
So
county road.
You've taken a look and that fits all the issues that we might have on county access and all that thing.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner, that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes for 8. Moving on to 9.
Is the committee recommends approval of the final plat for the same Delwood Country Estates.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Reinert. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion on item 9. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Item 10.
The committee recommends approval of a preliminary plat of Cliffs Peterson Ridge located in Section 19, Township 33, Range 22, Linwood Township. Sureco Construction is the owner and developer.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Reinert. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion on 10. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item 11.
And the committee recommends approval of final plat of Cliffs Peterson Ridge, as we just stated.
Is there a motion to approve item 11?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Reinert.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion on item 11. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes unanimously.
And that concludes my committee report.
Okay, do you want to move on to the
Chair
chair
report.
report?
Okay, and we're doing a chair report because all of these items are pretty timely, as Joe will mention. The first is that I would recommend approval of a resolution authorizing Anoka County to enter into an advanced construction agreement, MnDOT agreement with MnDOT for the reconstruction of CASA 56 Ramsey Boulevard and CASA 57 Sunfish Lake Boulevard and segments of US 10 and 169 in the city of Ramsey. Joe, we've heard a ton about this.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chair, members of the board, so yeah, we've had several action items on this. We actually recently opened bids on the Ramsey Gateway project. That'll be coming at a forthcoming board meeting to approve that. But as we were crossing all our Ts, dotting all our Is, one of the additional agreements that we needed to put in place is this advanced construction agreement. Essentially what it does is, as we know, putting these large funding packages together, sometimes the fiscal years on these funds don't always line up with one another just perfectly. So what happens is, in this case, we've got some funds that aren't available till '24, but we're gonna start the project in '23. What this agreement does is it acknowledges the fact that if some of those eligible expenses that those funds are gonna be spent on are done ahead of schedule, the county would just cover the costs until such time that the funds from the federal bucket of money are available in 2024. We'll just cover them until then, and we'll get reimbursed at that time. Fortunate part is we've got 13 funding mechanisms on this project, so we can move the money around and cover that without a big impact to our process.
Okay, I will offer this resolution. Is there discussion on this, item 1? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meissner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 2.
I would recommend approval to enter into a joint powers agreement with the city of Andover for the reconstruction of CASA 9 Round Lake Boulevard between 149th Lane and 157th Avenue in the city of Andover. Joe.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chair, members of the board, this is actually one of the very first projects when I started here at Anoka County that I heard from Commissioner Gamache on. When are we gonna get this done? So essentially, this project is that gap project in the 4-lane section on Round Lake Boulevard. As you head north out of Andover, you go past the lake there, it narrows down from 4 lanes to 2 lanes and then widens back out to 4 lanes. Happy to say that we're gonna get that project done next year. And so this agreement here is the joint powers agreement with the city of Andover. They're also excited to see this project done. They have approximately a $500,000 cost share in this project, which is typical with our cost share policy. It's right around 8 to 9%, but I think everyone's excited to see this project move forward.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gamache. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Schulte. Discussion on this one. Yes, Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe, on the ones on the west side and I can't read it on here when I've blown up this one, is 150 something, where we switch the road a little bit to the north. I'm just kind of curious as to why. What was the reason? Is that just to line it up with the road across the street?
Correct. Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, further discussion? Typically, we do not take public comment during this time. Is it pressing?
Well, I'm just wondering why it isn't extended to resurface 4-lane where 20 and 9 are mated together for that 1 mile stretch. Because
because that valley in between is pathetic. That's my only question.
Sure.
Joe, is that included in the project or not? Not at this time?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, it is not included in this time, but that is a section of roadway that we're monitoring with our pavement preservation program. So,
Horse and buggy.
yeah, we've got several like that one.
Well, I understand, but that's, since you're right there anyways, what's another mile?
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that comment. If you want to send your commissioners, Commissioner Schulte, Commissioner Gamache, kind of more information on this, we'll definitely bring it to the Transportation Committee and go from there. All right, thank you. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second on the joint powers agreement with the City of Andover for this project. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Item 3.
I would recommend that the board authorizes the county engineer to advertise for bids for the intersection improvements at CASA 22, which is Viking Boulevard, and CASA 7, Rum River Boulevard, in the city of Oak Grove. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chair, members of the board, so this project, again, received Highway Safety Improvement Program federal funds to deliver. So, and this is also being coordinated with the replacement of the Rum River Bridge, as you can see in the middle of the image there. And then also another project that we're going to talk about in a minute, the segment of 22 between Rum River Boulevard and Trunk Highway 47. That's going to get redone next year as well. So looking forward to seeing this project bid.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gamache. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brassad. Discussion on this one. Also a project we've talked about for a while here, so, but it's good to see this one coming forward. And I know that intersection is very busy at times, especially morning and evening rush hour coming through there, so. Okay, without any further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Item 4.
I would recommend that we authorize the county engineer to advertise for bids for the construction of highway improvements on CASA 22, Viking Boulevard, between 47 and CASA 7, Rum River Boulevard, in the cities of Now Then and Oak Grove. Joe, you just mentioned a little bit about this, but
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. So this one, I'm not sure what happened to the screen here, but essentially it's that project spanning from Rum River Boulevard over to Trunk Highway 47. Similar to the rest of 22, west of 65, it's going to be a concrete pavement, but this time we're going to do it in a full depth section. The other sections were what we call a white topping project, where you come in, you profile mill the surface of the pavement, and that's your base that you pour your concrete on. This one's actually gonna be fresh concrete on a fresh base. So these types of roads do have a 30 to 40-year life expectancy before needing major rehab. So looking forward to that project being done. That section of road is really rough, so.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gamache.
second.
Second by Commissioner Brassad. Discussion on item 4. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Item 5.
And last but not least, I would recommend authorizing the county engineer to advertise for bids for the intersection improvements at CASA 49, which is Hudson, and Anoka County CASA 32, and Ramsey County CASA 1, which is County Road J and Ash Street in the city of Lino Lakes and Shoreview. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. So this project here is a project that we've talked about numerous times as well. It's right on the border of Ramsey County and Anoka County, as well as the cities of Lino Lakes and Shoreview. And so this project, we're gonna install a roundabout at the intersection. The current existing signal system that exists there today was actually patched together by spare parts that the two agencies had, and it's been operating for a couple decades now. So it's time to be replaced. The new development that you can see on the screen and the northwest quadrant there has added some additional pressure to this intersection in this area. So as part of that development agreement, they are gonna be cost participants in this project. We also secured federal funding through the regional solicitation in 2022 to help pay for a majority of this. The estimated cost on this one is approximately $4.3 million. We received $3.3 million from federal dollars, and then the remainder is gonna be split between the agencies and the developer associated with this project.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I will gladly move approval of this one.
It's moved by Commissioner Reinert, or is there a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Gamache. Discussion on this? Yes, Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm always fascinated by the roundabouts going in and everything. And this is an interesting one because it's more of an urban as you go south into Ramsey. And there's some urbanization going north as well into, I guess it would be Circle Pines and Lino. But there's a service station, I think, or a convenience store on the southwest corner. And I think they have access to Hodgson Road, over that is when it goes down into Ramsey County. Do we have control over how they are going, if they have to change their access? Is that going to be part of this project when we put this together? Because the roundabout takes up a little bit more space than an intersection, and I'm just kind of curious as to, coming out of a roundabout, you don't want people coming in and out necessarily, and I'm kind of curious if that's been looked at yet.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, Commissioner, so fortunately with this project, as I mentioned, the developer in the Northwest Quadrant, when they came in, they're required to work with us on the right-of-way dedication to help us support the roadway improvements that are necessary because of that development. So you can see in the image here, it's a little faint. There's additional right-of-way on the north side. And then we also acquired the business in the northeast quadrant.
Okay.
Because we couldn't build this project and not impact that property. It's just too close. And it was a big impact to that operation. So we did purchase that property. So we were able to move the bulb or the center circle of that roundabout to the north to minimize impacts to the two service stations on the south side. Right now, they do have access from both roads in that southwest quadrant. Their access will remain much the same, which is kind of nice with the roundabout. When you have a signal, you have to install a lot of medians, dividers. They go from full access to half access and that type of thing. So roundabouts, they provide a little more flexibility with that. Plus the circuity of the roundabout helps if someone takes a right and they want to go left. They can take a right out, go around the roundabout, they're protected, and head back west without being potentially hit by a car or a traveling public. So we were able to squeeze a lot into this little intersection.
Okay.
And the operations will help. As you mentioned, I do wanna recognize too the fact that we are doing a lot of roundabouts recently. And they're great tools, not for every intersection. They don't work for them all. But in these particular circumstances, the traffic volumes, the high peaks and the low off-peak traffic volumes warrant these types of intersections very well. We've all sat at signal systems on off-peak hours, and you have to wait for the full cycle to go around because no one's coming on these other legs. Roundabouts take care of that.
Thanks, Joe.
Commissioner Reinert.
I guess just a final comment on this. Yeah, the time for this intersection to be improved came years ago. But there was pending changes in this area, and so those changes happened with the 17 acres developed in the Bloomston Senior Housing, which you can see on the diagram there, and then you can see also in the northwest quadrant there, there's going to be quite a bit of commercial development that is pending. So this improvement will obviously help move traffic. And then on north of here too, coming out of the Bloomstead development too is another access point for that entire quadrant. So yeah, like I said, very happy that this is happening, and the funding sources that we identified, makes it an easy choice to do. So thanks.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes.
And that concludes my chair report.
Thank you, Commissioner Brasted. We'll move on to the benefits report, and Commissioner Schulte.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Benefits and Compensation Committee meeting was held here in the Government Center on September 5th at 9 a.m. And we have 4 action items to bring before you. First, item 1A and B, the Benefits Compensation Committee recommends that the County Board approve the following 30-hour or more per week benefit eligible positions, non-union and union employees. Both A and B. A is the self-insured health insurance rates for county contributions, and second is the HRA contribution of $1,000 for single and $2,000 for family. I will comment that there is no change from last year. The employee contribution, the county contributions are the same. And for those watching, HRA does not stand for Housing and Redevelopment Authority here. It stands for Health Reimbursement Account. And those contributions remain the same from last year. With that, I would move items 1A and B.
There's a motion for items 1A and B. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brasted, moved by Commissioner Schulte. Discussion. Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just general questions, because and you'll have to humor me because this is not my area of expertise, but I want to say that there is no changes for this one is pretty significant, because I want to say that you've talked about it in the past. I mean, we're health insured, so that's a cost benefit, but obviously over time, we couldn't expect to have like zero increase. And I know for dental, there's a 2% increase, but so I guess I'm making sure that that is true. The fact that this has not gone up at all is a big deal. But then next year, we should not necessarily expect the same result.
Yes, Commissioner Schulte.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I don't know, predicting the future is not really easy for me, but I can tell you, when we went to self-insured, we were much better able to control our costs and to hopefully say, yeah, we can expect a good rate next year, hopefully 0, 1%. It's hard to say. Right now, our experience rating combined with everything we've done as a self-insured has led us to a point where we can offer this again this year.
Okay. You know, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, just follow up. Okay, so then I think I misunderstood then, because for, like, in the past, those rates could jump 10% sometimes, right, increase. So I thought, like, for self-insured, we had more control, but it sounds, but still not 100% controllable of what we set. But what you're saying is, actually, that's not true. We have a lot of control over what we set because we're self-insured. Am I understanding that right?
Ms. Schulte.
Mr. Chair, I would capitulate to Bill Keller, our expert in this field, but my suggestion is we have a lot more control than we used to have.
Right.
Whether you want to consider that a lot of control, and I guess that's conjecture at this point. We have way more
Semantics
than
now,
we used
right?
to have.
Right, right.
Bill, please.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, my name is Bill Keller. I'm the Director of Central Services. And to answer your question, Commissioner Meisner, we do have a little more control over what we do as far as setting rates. One of the things that we tried to do is to make sure that we are funding our reserve account with the premiums that come in with both the employees and the employer contribution, to make sure that we've got adequate reserves to be able to pay claims, which has allowed us to be able to maintain a constant premium over the last 3 or 4 years. And every year we take a look at it, and we look at not only plan design, but utilization, and we also do actuary projections going forward, and we make a determination on whether or not it's accurate or not.
Okay. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it, just because I know for us, our responsibility as a board, financially, it's wages and healthcare. So I just want to, again, just make sure I'm understanding everything. So thank you.
Yes.
So I'm just going to comment that this is an incredible benefit. Incredible benefit. I don't know of many others out there at all that are experiencing a 0 increase in their healthcare costs. I think prior years we were looking at 14% thing, some of those numbers were questionable, and we did an outstanding job of tracking it as well, and then saying, no, actually our numbers, the real numbers are here. Your numbers are up here, you need to bring your numbers down when we were going out for insurance. The fact that we went to self-insured, I think a lot of stars had to line up maybe for that to happen, but the fact that we've done that, and I think it's the last 3 years or 4 years we've been at 0. No one in the state's saying that. And so it's just an incredible benefit, and I want to thank Commissioner Schulte and Commissioner Brasted for serving on this, and for continuing to, and their leadership for continuing to help guide these decisions. And I'm just very thankful for folks that might be experiencing some tough times out there, at least from an insurance benefit standpoint. This is incredible. But yes, our usage rates do impact the account. We have taken some steps to try and control those usage rates, the Well at Work clinic, workout facility, and other things, and I know even the voluntary separation program that we had kind of reduced some of the age of our users of this benefit. So all that kind of plays into being able to get here today, which is absolutely phenomenal. Bill, thank you for your hard work on this as well. And again, yes, we may need to increase at some point. I know we even discussed possibly having to increase this year a little bit. And we'll keep an eye on that ball, certainly moving forward. But so far, this is an incredible benefit as I see it. Commissioner Brasted, did you have your hand up?
No.
Okay.
No.
I had my hand up, but those, you covered my point that it's been zero for many years. So.
Terrific. Okay. Any further discussion on this one? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye, and that passes unanimously. Item 2.
The Benefits and Compensation Committee recommends the county board approve the proposed dental coverage with Health Partners starting on January 1st of 2024 through December 31st of 2028. This, you will note, is a 2% increase, a very modest increase, but there are changes afoot in our Well at Work dental clinic, which is in one of our buildings that we own near the campus here. It's a long story, but that particular parent company is switched over, and long story short, our dental clinic will be moving somewhere. And we are working, Bill is working diligently to try and find a place on campus where we can have that Well at Work dental clinic here. We are remaining with Health Partners, and as you see, for a rather extensive period of time.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve item 2?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Meisner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion on item 2. Bill, I know that dental is a different deal than medical, obviously. Dental is kind of a personal relationship with your dentist type of scenario, unique as it is. Are we finding that to be a challenge maybe in trying to encourage folks to use the county dental clinic, shall we say, versus staying with their current dentist? Is that a challenge?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, it is a challenge. However, we have seen a lot of utilization in the Health Partners Network, and we do see migration into the clinic on a regular basis. Depending on the years and depending on how many people we have turnover in the county, really kind of dictates what that migration might look like. I will say that the dental clinic, the on-site dental clinic, we only had the option to be able to provide 1 day a week for those services. I think by moving it, we will have that opportunity potentially to offer it more than 1 day a week or maybe several half days a week to be able to engage in participation. So, but you're absolutely right. A lot of people are married to their dentists and they love them and they don't like to move. It is challenging, but sometimes the benefit outweighs that challenge.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this one? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
And item 2 passes unanimously. Item 3.
Lastly, the Benefits and Compensation Committee recommends the county board approve the following for retiree Medicare supplemental insurance. And this is a renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield. The group Medicare Advantage is described beginning January 1st, 2024, with the offered rates, and then provide the county contribution is calculated by the Anoka County personnel rules and regulations. You'll see that this is for prescriptions only, and that even though there is a premium increase, it's still far below the 2022 cost of prescriptions. So with that, I would move it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Bill?
Mr. Chair, I do want to clarify that it is both coverage for health insurance as well as prescriptions. There's just 2 prescription plans, a high and a low.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, further discussion on this one? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye,
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
and that passes unanimously.
And we do have one informational item, Bill, if you want to touch on it, that's fine. Otherwise, you can peruse it.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I do want to let you know that our ancillary benefits, such as our short-term, long-term disability plans, life insurance, as well as our vision equipment only plans are in their third year of a three-year renewal or a three-year plan, and there is no change in benefit as well as no change in premium to those as well.
Okay.
And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Schulte. We will move on to the Intergovernmental and Community Relations Committee report, and Commissioner Reiner.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. My committee met on August 23rd, and we did have public comment. Some people spoke in support of the county funding a groundwater specialist. We don't have any action items before you, but we do have a couple of informational items, and I'll just mention a couple of those. Our Midwest Medical Examiner's Office, under the Sterling direction of Shane Sheets, has been selected to become a beta tester of an in-house toxicology device that will offer in-house postmortem drug testing in under 15 minutes. That's pretty incredible considering that the test typically takes hours. And so this will cause a lot of efficiency and dollar savings. And not surprised that our medical's office was chosen to test it. We also received a presentation from the Anoka County Historical Society. The Anoka County, or Anoka Conservation District. And then we also went over the process and timeline for the Anoka County 2024 legislative platform development. Just a couple things there. All directors will have to have their items into us by December 1st. We've got a couple of meetings set then to, assess and, go over those. County Board will act on that January 2nd, and the legislative session convenes Monday, February 12th, 2024. That completes my report, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Meisner.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry, but before you closed out, Commissioner Reinert, so I mentioned this in the committee. So informational item number 2 for the Anoka County Historical Society. I had just mentioned, I know that they would be thrilled to actually present to the full board, obviously to us formally, but then also just to relay all of the programming and different things that they have for the public. So I did want to make comment on that, and I can certainly follow up with you, Mr. Chair, about that afterwards.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Meisner, and thank you, Commissioner Reinert, for your report. We will move on to the Parks report. And Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Parks Committee held their meeting at Rum River South County Park on Tuesday, September 5th. It was a beautiful morning to be outdoors on the Rum River, short of the noise coming from the metal recycling plant, but it was a beautiful day to be out there. We have 2 action items this morning. The committee recommended to the county board to adopt resolution 2023 PRK 08, accepting a donation of $500 from the Lake George Conservation Club for use at the Lake George Summer Day Camps. And we're very excited to receive that with some of the changes that were made up at Lake George for where the YMCA used to have their camps. And we have remodeled some of that area now, and we've got other programs going on or beginning to start there, and we're excited that the Conservation Club wanted to donate $500 to us.
Is there an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Jepson. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That resolution is adopted. Item 2.
Item 2, Mr. Chair, is the committee recommended to the county board to adopt resolution 2023 PRK 09, supporting the city of Anoka's proposed dam modification project. I know we were asked to provide a letter. As we had discussed about this, we said, well, why don't we do a full board resolution so that we could have everybody agree to this? We think this is a great program that the city is attempting, and I know tomorrow, I believe they're on the tour for the bonding committee. So, they're looking to get state bonds, obviously, to pay for this. But there's a lot of good benefits to Anoka County in this. With a modified dam would help manage the recreation pool farther north onto Rum River, and just some of the other possibilities, reducing some of the riverbank erosion, and enhancing angling opportunities, which is great. I mean, doesn't seem to be a downside, so we thought, why don't we do a full board resolution and get it on there? So we are bringing it forward, and I know the chair represents the city of Anoka, so I'm expecting that he wants to make that.
I will offer this resolution and discussion. I know that, there's been a lot of discussion on this by City of Anoka in prior years, and I know the current boards that they use for controlling the water levels are manual, labor-intensive, and you'll see a lot of fluctuation in water levels, which causes, we're all on the Anoka sand plain, and it causes that kind of washing in of the sand, and eventually what happens then is the fish, and this is a world-class fishery, the fish that need to go upstream to spawn can't get through the sand because of the shallow waters, and you have those type of concerns related with that. So there's, as you mentioned, Commissioner Mash, there's all sorts of benefits to doing this, and I am certainly supportive of this project and wish them well in their success in getting state bonding dollars for this. Any further discussion? Yes, Commissioner Mash.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just wondering, was anybody on the board going to be at the bonding tour tomorrow? Or I don't know if we should I'd like to make sure that they have it to them and get it to them, I suppose, depending on what time it starts. I have a 10 o'clock meeting in St. Paul in the morning for MESB, but we'd like to get that in their hands. And Jeff, maybe you've discussed the possibility of being able to do that as well?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Jeff Perry, Park Director for Anoka County. And Mr. Chair, Commissioner Gamache, I plan on attending. And if there's any commissioners that are available to join me, that'd be great, just to briefly express the county board's support of the project.
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Meisner?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you. Yeah, because I think a lot of us are going to be at the AMC Fall Policy Conference. So I am, and I don't know if we all are, but anyway, so thank you for doing that.
I will try and attend, Jeff, if you can send me the details, location, timing, all that sort of thing, and when they'll be passing through here, and be happy to attend as well, so. Okay, I have an offer of the resolution. Without any further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
And then, Mr. Chair, we have a few informational items, just updates on the Bunker Hills Activity Center Air Handling Project, the Bunker Hills Water and Sewer Project, trail reroutes for the Rice Creek North Regional Trail. We did have some issues there where we have to move around some artifacts, possible cemetery, of native cemetery, we believe, although it's questionable whether or not that skeleton was actually found back in 1978. It's rumored, but we're going to be held to it. So we found a way to get around that, and we're working with the school district over there and one of the schools, and I think it's going to work just fine. And actually will save us money because we won't have to build a bridge or a boardwalk, I think, apparently in the other area. So we went over a couple of those, and the rest is all just informational, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Gamache, for that report. And I believe that brings us to the end of our agenda this morning. If there's nothing else to come before the county board, we will stand adjourned. Thank you.